South Africa grapples with stage 6 rolling blackouts. Ethekwini Municipality remains unaffected by Eskom's failure to keep the country's lights on. The municipality is rebuilding after the floods in April. According to officials, Ethekwini will only start bearing the brunt a month from now. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah has been tracking these developments for us at Ethekwini. Let's go live to him now for the latest update. Good afternoon, Dasen. Just tell us first, how is business responding to the load shedding announcement?
Well, much like residents, Pradan, they are certainly not happy. So you would know by now that this is all going to take place around the 1st of August. But before that, residents as well as businesses should know what the schedule looks like. That's what Ethekwini's electricity department is saying to us. They should put out those schedules by around about July. So it's load shedding, but in a different way. And it'll be exclusive to Ethekwini in terms of how it is done. And this is to manage the infrastructure right now, which is in a bit of a fragile state after the floods. So anything drastic may damage that infrastructure further and further hinder the supply and the grid as we know it at the moment, because currently it's still not meeting its expected target and the requirements of the city. It's about 200 megawatts short, and that effectively means that we have been load shedding, but unintentionally so. So now business, taking all of this into consideration, they say that they are not ready for this, because apart from the floods, on the back of everything else that has happened in KwaZulu-Natal, that recovery that we keep hearing about, that is still underway, and it's expected to be underway for a few years to make up for all of the shortfalls that they've had. I mean, in some cases here in KZN and in Durban specifically, we've had complete closures of businesses that have been all but destroyed by the floods. We had an opportunity to speak to the Durban Chamber of Commerce. So let's listen to what Municipality had to say about how business reacts to this latest news.
You know that the province of KZN, more specifically Durban, we have actually been inundated with so many cases of challenges. I mean, not just the floods, but, you know, COVID-19 and, of course, the unrest that we had last year. And the business community has been absolutely battered. And to be honest with you, this is not the time for us to actually be even looking at having load shedding in the province, especially given the challenges of the south basin of Durban, where majority of the manufacturing businesses are there. They haven't been operational, and some of them are looking to start operations starting in August. So introducing load shedding at that point in time is completely going to be very, very devastating for the economy. And not just the big businesses that we're talking about, even the small businesses. We are absolutely crippled, and load shedding is not something that we can afford at all as a city and as a province.
So the business sector there being very clear what's been happening, but what do they want, Dasen?
So in simple terms, they want government to make a plan, so to speak. They want them to ensure that everyone that has a job to do, to ensure that the lights stay on, does that job, because ultimately it's not a sacrifice that business can afford to make right now. You would have heard there, especially with August being a month, that many of these businesses which are closed down, starting to reopen, starting to get operations underway, and then you get hit by load shedding. And it's not just any load shedding. I mean, we know how severe it's been so far. So I think there will still be further consultations there as businesses try to understand what they can do to ensure that they survive this next bout of load shedding. But let's listen to what Municipality had to say one more time about their plea to government right now.
Business community here of KwaZulu-Natal, but we are really at the brink of destruction if these kind of things keep on happening. I mean, our expectation is for government to create a conducive environment so that business can thrive and the economy grows and jobs become created. So to be honest with you, the main plea that we're having as a business community of KwaZulu-Natal is really to the civil servants, all of them, not just here in Durban, but all of them throughout the country. We've seen what is happening right now with Eskom and the strike, as well as the unions and the roles that they're playing, is that we really plead for all civil servants to please take that job seriously and deliver services, because at the end of the day, if the services are not going to be delivered, businesses will close down, and it's not just us in the private sector that will lose jobs, but eventually who's going to be paying the taxes? They too will lose their jobs. So really the main request is, can we have the full civil servants taking responsibility and making sure that they deliver the services.
A view from business there in Ethekwini during these dark days of stage 6 and stage 4 of blackouts.